Hello, hi, I'm Pastor Jeff Brady from Bethel Baptist Church in Sevierville, Tennessee. And I thank you for tuning in to our Better Choices Equals Better Lives. And I'm coming to you today presenting a broadcast that I feel is very important about veterans. And as you know, and I know, that everything we have in our country, all the blessings, they've come down from the Lord, and they've come down because of those in service uniform who protected and provided and handed us the baton of freedom. And so I want to start off, I always like to get people to smile a little bit, and I'm sure you heard the story about the preacher's driving down the road, and he's got a little bottle of Mogan David there, and he's got it wrapped up in brown paper, and he gets pulled over by the officer. And the officer says, "Sir, looks like you've been weaving." And he says, "Have you been drinking?" He said, "No, sir. No, sir, not at all." And so the officer looks over and sees that brown paper around that bottle, and he says, "And what's that?" He says, "Well, that's just water. That's just water. I promise you that's water." And so he says, "Why don't you hand me that water?" So the preacher hands the officer the water, and he opens up the bottle, and he says, "This isn't water, this is wine." He says, "Well, the Lord did it again. What do you know about that? He did it again." And anyways, I hope you're smiling. Anyways, but veterans, I'm a military brat. I was born in the military. I was born overseas in Germany. My father, Tom Brady, was a colonel, and my mother also was in the military, the United States Air Force, both of them. And so all my siblings and I, we grew up in the military, and we have a great appreciation for our service personnel. And myself, my wife and I, my late wife and I, we have had 9 children. We have one in heaven, a 10th one. And of our 9 children, 4 of them have actually served in different parts of our military. Our one daughter served up at Great Lakes as a JAG apprentice, and she was in law school. And then our son's active Special Forces. And then our other son's a Marine pilot. And our last son is at the Air Force Academy. So we got all 4 branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. But I love the military. I didn't have the privilege to serve in the military, and that's one of the regrets in my life I have, in all honesty. I don't have many regrets, but I graduated from high school in 1978. Jimmy Carter was our president, and it was kind of a low ebb. Vietnam had finished, and I thought, do I go in the military and enlist? I tried to get into the Air Force Academy. I got a nomination, but somebody else smarter than I got in. And so I ended up going off to college, and it was a theology college, and I'm glad I did, because I would eventually meet my wife there, my future wife of almost 36 years. But and we got to serve as a family, she and I, and then with our children, we got to serve people at Scott Air Force Base, at Fort Leonard Wood. And when I was in college, I used to go up to Great Lakes Naval Base and minister and bring the squids down to church and have them at our house for meals. And we'd go down to Chanute Air Force Base at that time in Rantoul, and a lot of that stuff's been mothballed since. But we love the military, appreciate the military, but I know when Ronald Reagan came into office in 1980 and it kind of stirred up our military, our love of patriotism again came back, and we have the largest military in the world. We have a volunteer military on top of that. So we appreciate our active duty, but you know what? To have had the millions of people who have served in our country's military through the years, we owe them a great debt. And many of them, of course, lie beneath the soil, and many others are now in different vocations of their life, but they put their time in, and they wore the uniform, and they wore it proudly, and I want to thank them. I appreciate all of our veterans, all of our active duty folks, and I just really want to express my gratitude for that. I have right here a flag. This is the flag that draped my mother's casket when my mother passed away in January of 2018. And though I'm the youngest of 6 children, when my father died, my brother, the oldest one, received my father's flag. But for some reason, my siblings bestowed this great honor upon me to receive this flag, and I received it with weeping and appreciation. So anyways, I love the flag, and many of us who remember a few years back when there was this movement going across America about not honoring the flag, not standing and saluting or pledging and all that, and people just disrespecting it. And many of us who love our country, love our military, love our freedoms that we have, we're very offended by that, because we earnestly believe in respecting the flag, and it drapes the caskets of our loved ones as they come back from theaters of war. It's also, it's just, there's so much that goes into our patriotism and our love for our country and what that flag represents, and and having traveled to over 20 foreign countries and missionary work and all, I know when I come home and I see Old Glory flying in the wind, and when I see it here at our church, at our Veterans Cemetery, when I see flags across the United States, it makes me proud, and I love to put my right hand over my heart. I love to salute. I love to appreciate the veterans and the flag and that kind of thing. So anyways, I want to say a couple of things. How to really appreciate veterans. Number one, be attentive. They're all around you. They're wearing their hats, they're wearing the vests, they're wearing the coats, and they have it on their license plates. You'll see them, and what a marvelous thing when you acknowledge them, when you see them and you appreciate them. You smile at them. You give them a handshake. You thank them for their service to our country. I've tried to teach my children that, and whenever I see someone, whether it be at a gas station, at a store, or whatever, and they're wearing that, Vietnam hat or whatever, Gulf War hat, etc., I go to them and I thank them for their service, and I just kind of start a conversation a little bit with them, and I appreciate them. And you know what? It just does something for them. Even as you're passing by, a simple nod and a simple thumbs up and thank you, it means a lot to these men and women as our veterans. So always smile, handshake, say something grateful to them. Talk with them. I want to show you a picture here. It's going to come up on the screen. This is a picture of my daughter over at Normandy on the 75th anniversary. After my wife passed, our son, who's in the military, he's a captain over Special Forces, and he said, "Dad, let Olivia come with me and Caleb to come to Europe and spend some time with me and make some new memories. We're going to go to Normandy for the D-Day Memorial of the 75th. And Olivia happened to meet this man. This older man, he's about 98 years of age, if I have my story correct. He fell in love with Olivia, and Olivia just smiled, and she's in a ton of pictures by a lot of people because of this man's dedication to our country. And you know what? But I've taught our children to take time to express gratitude, and this elderly veteran man just embraced my daughter and cherished her, and now that's a lasting memory in her life. That's impregnated on her mind and heart of a love for our service people, our veterans, and so it's important that we teach our children to show appreciation and show that. All right. Go to veterans celebrations. Today is this is the week of Veterans Day coming up, and I plan on going to a number of veterans ceremonies. I've spoken at schools about Veterans Days and all that to thousands of young people through the years, but I love to go to those. I love the music. I love the tributes, the honor, and the recognition to them, and the gifts that are given to the veterans. And I'll be doing that here, Lord willing, in Sevierville. I'll be doing that in Dandridge, Tennessee this week, but go to the veterans celebrations. Keep before your eyes and your family the price of freedom. You think about it. Memorial Day, Flag Day. I know our son was a Boy Scout, and part of our privilege was helping him as he was going up the ranks towards Eagle Scout was on the days that the nation would put out the flags, Labor Day, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Flag Day, and other days of significance. And my wife and I, and we would go and help set out all these flags across our community. We'd pick them up at the end of the day kind of thing. But handling the flag and just doing that. I remember going to this Wreaths Across America ceremony at the Walmart distribution center. I remember going to President Andrew Johnson's cemetery site in Greenville, Tennessee, where they put all these wreaths across America and the tribute and the honor we show to the veterans. And I remember our son, our oldest firstborn, how he learned to play the trumpet as a child, and then he really got good at it, and he would play taps at the National Cemetery at Jefferson Barracks there in St. Louis region, and how proud I was to have him honor the veterans that I was doing the funerals for as a pastor. I've done many funerals like that, but it's part of participating in patriotism. We would take our children and we would go on Memorial Days and Veterans Days, and we would go not only to these special services, but we would go to see cemeteries. And we would see the flags that are draped across this great nation in honor of those. And you could see the different flags from different periods of time for the different ones and of much older veterans. And you know what? I had the privilege to take our children numerous times to the National Cemetery, Arlington National Cemetery, and to see the changing of the guard, to see the respect that's shown as you stand and you watch the changing of the guards and the for the tomb of the unknown soldier, known only but to God, and it's such a stirring thing and a tribute, and they do that in the rain, they do that in the cold, they do that even when the storms come in, the hurricanes. These men have shown such honor to the dead. They've never met the ones that have died, from the different wars, but because of that which was instilled in them by their parents and by their training and all that, they have a love and a camaraderie and a brotherhood. And you know what? If you can enter into that, my friend, we're Americans. We're in this thing together. And we love our country. And we pray for our president. And we try to support our military. And including supporting our military are the men and women that go overseas and serve here in the United States. But it's also the families. Because the sacrifice of families. I know this firsthand. I remember watching as our sons, when they would graduate from different schools, when we had a couple graduate from, some service academies, things of that sort, but watching them as they are sworn in their allegiance to the United States Constitution, to defend it against enemies, foreign and domestic, to see them as they take up arms and then deploy out. And let me tell you, it's a very stirring thing to have one of those stars hanging in your window because your kid's overseas, and then to learn that your child is wounded and injured and they get a Purple Heart, and you realize the sacrifice that goes into being a military family. And so make sure we always appreciate and we cherish these. And I remember I asked our son, our firstborn, I said, why do you do what you do? Why have you done the Ranger and the Air Assault and Airborne? And why have you tried to become a Green Beret? Why do you do what you do to do this? And he says, Dad, there's enemies out there. There's good people in the world, there's bad people. And the bad people want to kill the good people. My responsibility is to take out the bad people before they hurt the good people. And he says, things that motivate me is I want my men, I want them to return from battle. I want them to come home, not draped in a casket with a flag, but I want them to walk home. I want them to come and be reunited with their families, their mates, and their children. And he says, that's what drives me. Let me tell you, we must not forget what happened on 9/11, friends, because, that's what stirred, I know, the Brady family to really seek out to do what we can for our country. But you know what? There's a price for freedom, and it's a very high price, and our veterans have paid this price for us. Some gave all, and all gave some, but it's so important that we do that. And so let's show our respect to the veterans as we smile at them, wave at them, encourage them, talk with them, go to these functions, try to recognize them, and I honor them at our church. Most churches do across America. We're a country that appreciates now. We made our mistakes in Vietnam. We didn't receive back our soldiers with honor that they deserved, and so but to cherish them, and then when you pledge that a flag and you give your allegiance there and you say those things that mean so much to our hearts, that's important. So let me close this broadcast by encouraging us all to pray for our veterans, to pray for their families, to pray for our president and those that are involved, all of our leaders in these high places of military government and all of that, and to have in our lives a committed desire to love the military, to love our veterans. And I have in our bathroom, in the men's room at our church, is something I put on the wall. It says, if you can read, thank a teacher. If you can read in English, thank a soldier. And so I just want to say to all of you airmen and all of you Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, all you guardsmen, all you reservists, all you folks who served in the state militias, anyone who served in any capacity, thank you. Thank you from the depths of my heart. I represent a lot of people. I represent a family. And I represent our country. We just want to say thank you to our veterans. God bless you. And so I just can't thank you enough for all that you've done. I'm Jeff Brady. I thank Brighton Teets for being our production manager. I thank you for tuning into this broadcast. Please avail yourself to our other podcasts that we're putting out there. You can see the email at the bottom of the screen. I appreciate those of you who've been contacting us and telling us your thoughts and even some topics that you'd like us to cover. I'd be glad to do that. And I just want to be a friend, want to be a help to you. So this is Jeff Brady signing off. Remember, friends, be good to everyone because everyone's having a tough time. God bless you. Thank you.